Well, as a very proud Englishman, let me wish you a very happy St. George's Day. And I do still think, by the way, it's an absolute disgrace that we don't have an English Parliament when you've got a Scottish Parliament that's got 129 MSPs. You've got a Welsh Parliament that's actually looking to expand from 60 to 96 members. And yet the English, well, we don't get an English Parliament. I think that's disgraceful. Before I get on to what Reform UK leader Richard Tice has had to say today, which I think is quite significant in terms of looking ahead to the next general election and the dates of it, allow me to thank members backing me here on the channel. If you do want to become a member, do see the link down below. But we've got Andrew there with the members badge next to his name saying we need to get out of the ECHR, disband the House of Lords and sack any civil servants who actively try to undermine what elected MPs are trying to do. Peter sort of mocking Rishi Sunak there. Thanks for being a member, Peter. Saying, why doesn't Sunak admit he's out of his depth and let someone else come in who might be able to turn the Conservative Party round when it is in opposition? Caroline saying it's brilliant that Reform are getting higher in the polls, that Labour's not the answer, that's for sure. And Carol finally saying people need to wake up. And you can see the language there, and vote Reform. And we did have the horrendous news this morning, sadly, that 5 people died after a small boat got into difficulties off a French beach this morning, including a child. Absolutely horrendous. And I think it is complete madness that we have seen this crisis go on for years now. Now, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, of course, has put forward the Rwanda bill as his big plan to stop the boats. That has finally cleared Parliament. It will become law. But as to whether it's going to be effective or not, well, you've seen, for instance, former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, who voted against the bill, point out that as currently drafted, every single small boat arrival will be able to concoct a personal reason for why Rwanda is unsafe for them and they can't be removed, that there'll be individuals being taken off flights, that the courts will be overwhelmed, and that we'll see the operational collapse of the policy, that you'll again see a foreign court issue judgments, and that despite attempts from MPs like him to strengthen the bill, the government has failed to make the necessary improvements. Look, Rishi Sunak may get a few symbolic flights off to Rwanda, but he's still talking about that taking a further 10 to 12 weeks from now, at a time when we are seeing now almost on a daily basis, including today, another 3 groups of people are brought to shore. That's just today. And the fact is, Sunak has now staked so much on this Rwanda bill, it's hard to imagine him allowing voters to see its failure ahead of the next general election. I mean, again, a few symbolic flights off is not going to stop this when you consider that on the highest day this year, you saw over 500 people arrive in a single day. And with all that in mind, this is what Richard Tice had to say. This is what the Reform leader had to say on GB News earlier today about this approach from Rishi Sunak, about this plan, and about the date of the next general election.
In theory, anybody can be returned, right, who'd be sent to Rwanda, who's currently coming across. They're not. They know that the prospect of it is so remote that it's not a deterrent. This whole thing is flawed. So here's what's going to happen, right? Because they know it's not a deterrent. The migrants know it's not a deterrent. So many people here know it's not going to be a deterrent. What Sunak's going to do, this is going to determine his whole election strategy. We are now preparing for a general election on Thursday, the 27th of June.
Really?
Or the 4th of July. I'll tell you why.
Hang on, let's go on.
Because if he lets these flights take off, and I'm right that the boats keep coming because it's not a deterrent, all of a sudden, these hundreds of millions are wasted, all these years are wasted, we've got over 100,000 people, so his whole strategy
But what if it does? But what?
Now, you also saw yesterday Nigel Farage say there's about a 2/3 likelihood that the election will be at the end of June or early July. And it has to be said, Rishi Sunak today refusing to rule out a July election. You'll notice as well, by the way, which I think points to an early election now, Sunak talking about a range of policies talking about the benefit system. Today we saw a big announcement in terms of an increase in defence spending. So it does appear very much so that a June, July election could be on. Let me know what you make of that in the comments below, guys. I'll, of course, keep bringing you all the latest on this and more. So please do wrap this video a quick thumbs up. And of course, as ever, cheers for watching.